Yeah, I'm doing another Keith Olbermann video.
Scum! Russian scum!
I know he's an easy target, but that's kind of the point. Before Keith was a fire and brimstone preacher, he was a sports reporter at ESPN. So I thought it might be fun to put together a highlight reel. Let's take a look at some of Keith's finest moments of insanity. We'll start with the Olbermann Rule of reporting. There is a simple philosophy that describes Keith's approach to facts, and particularly how one fact relates to another.
On any given day, lots of things happen. Doesn't necessarily mean they're all connected, let alone that they're necessarily cause and effect. On the other hand, it also doesn't mean they're necessarily not cause and effect.
There's no logic too twisted, no argument too unsound for Keith to use.
Just dazzle them with bullshit.
Well, we got nothing else to dazzle them with, and it is such dazzling bullshit.
Today, every day, the presidential administration of Donald John Trump looks a little bit more than it did the day before like a bomb disposal operation. And the Republican Party owns the bomb.
Let me apologize again to the world, particularly to the United Kingdom, on behalf of the United States of America. Donald Trump is not of sound mind. We are working to correct the problem as soon as possible.
So why isn't this point being debated publicly every day? Why is there no cable news show called Is the President Unstable?
Does anyone else find it amusing that Olbermann would accuse someone else of being unstable? According to Keith, though, in spite of being unstable, Trump is also somehow an effective tool of the Russians.
His actions are not those of anyone, let alone anyone in power, whose loyalty is to the United States of America. Indeed, his actions seem more like those of someone whose loyalty is to the Russian state. We have in the White House a president who, if he is not an agent of the Russian government, might as well be one.
I'm beginning to smell a big fat commie rat.
You'd think that'd be enough. But in Keith's eyes, Trump is not only a lunatic and a Manchurian candidate, he is also responsible for neo-Nazi terrorism.
Donald Trump is, for all intents and purposes, a sympathizer and apologist and practically an accessory after the fact to neo-Nazi domestic terrorism. Donald Trump is not responsible directly for the acts of domestic terrorism at the neo-Nazi attack in Charlottesville, Virginia over the weekend. He is responsible for them after the fact.
It's not enough to condemn Trump, though. Keith also likes to condemn his followers.
The next week, he gave an insane, enraged speech in Phoenix, reading his first statement to the crowd of morons and degenerates we have always contained in this country.
Hell, why not condemn the whole Republican Party?
You Republicans are now either for democracy or you are for Donald Trump. You cannot be for both. There are but two parties now, Republicans and Americans.
Oh, I dodged a bullet there, because I'm not a Republican. I mean, if I were a Republican, it would make me un-American.
Yeah, it would. And now it is up to those voters and those Republicans to atone for their sins that will damn them to hell, political or otherwise.
Damn them to hell, political or otherwise? Trump voters should be condemned to hell?
Godless buffoons, all of them.
But on to more important things.
What was that again about Russian hookers?
No, not that. Even more important. Trump's Twitter account.
How do you not send out a tweet the morning of 9/11?
Oh, come on, Keith. You can do better than that. I want you to give us a really good sports reporter rundown of a Twitter error.
The man acting as the President of the United States went to his favorite platform of public communication at 12:06 a.m. prevailing local time, got to the 43rd character and the 6th word of a tweet, misspelled something, probably the word coverage, and somehow managed to hit send. The meaninglessness, the lack of focus, the carelessness, the self-pity, the irresponsible redefinition of the language itself that has symbolized this fifth-rate administration from the moment of Trump's inaugural address onwards was summarized in 5 words plus some kind of typographical error. And no great leap of imagination is required to presume that it was disseminated because just as he misspelled coverage, he suddenly, phone in hand, fell asleep or otherwise lost awareness and pressed send or reached for delete and instead hit send and then fell asleep or otherwise screwed up and checked out.
Tragically, and with existential irony, there yet remains a way to stop Donald Trump, who is an insane man with atomic weapons and without any moral compass.
An insane man without any moral compass. But exactly how bad is Trump? Well, to put it simply, Trump is the worst elected leader in the history of all the Western democracies. And yes, Keith is really about to say that.
The rest of these shameless opportunists who will be damned in history for what they were, enablers of the worst American president of all time, and the worst elected leader in the history of all the Western democracies who set out to rapidly and thoroughly destroy the nation which had foolishly empowered him.
What an asshole.
He is beyond Nixon. He is beyond Woodrow Wilson after his paralyzing stroke. He's beyond the afflicted King George. If there's anybody to whom he can now be compared, perhaps it's the disastrous first-century Roman Emperor Nero.
You're a moron.
This is about the hate and the spitefulness and the limitless evil inside one man, one despicable, unforgivable, feral man. This is about Donald John Trump.
What the fuck is your problem?
From this self-perpetuating nightmare of a chief executive who cannot even handle Twitter, let alone reality.
Listen, I hate to be the first one to break this to you, buddy, but you're out of your friggin' mind.
This individual is not, by any understanding any of us have had instinctually or by experience, a human being.
Your Honor, the man is one banana short of a fruit salad,
2 apples, and a banana.
GQ has really done this guy a favor. If he wasn't on YouTube, Keith would probably be on the sidewalk, ranting at random crowds while imagining that he's still on a screen.
There are 2 kinds of Trump supporters today. There are the racists who hate Mexicans and all Hispanics and blacks. And then there are those other Trump supporters who do not have these vile hatreds in their blackened souls, but who are still willing to exploit and embrace those who do. And they are worse than the racists.
If you're a Trump supporter, you're a racist, or you're worse than a racist. It's better to be like Keith and just hate everyone who votes incorrectly.
Ordinary fucking people, I hate them.
Catalog verse. Verse made by compiling long lists of everyday objects, names, or events, united by a common theme and often didactic in tone.
Boy Scouts, Scaramucci hired, Scaramucci fired, paddy wagons, transgender troops, Priebus, repeal and replace McCain, Murkowski, and go banning yourself. He's threatened his former acting attorney general. He's threatened his ex-press secretary. He's threatened his ex-chief of staff. He's threatened China, Germany, Australia, Iran, Canada, Mexico, Japan.
Has been the most destructive month, has been the most hateful month, has been the most anti-democratic month, has been the most horrifying month, has been the most prejudiced month, has been the most disgusting month, has been the most unforgivable month, has been the most un-American month in the history of the American presidency. Not right, unstable, unhinged, unsound, unglued, unbalanced, unbelievable, odd, off, strange, weird, nonsensical, erratic, foolish, idiotic, implausible, raving, haywire, bizarre, absurd, ludicrous, half-baked, cockamamie, preposterous, deranged, demented, delirious, delusional, lunatic, screwy, touched, maniacal, monomaniacal, cracked, hallucinatory, out to lunch, out of his mind, paranoid, narcissistic, sociopathic, psychopathic, crazy. There is hatred and prejudice and racism and white grievance and scapegoating and blame and revenge and stupidity and shame and inhumanity and sheer unapologetic cruelty. And most of all, there is this scum Trump.
And I had to watch a lot of his crap to put this together.
I still have the scars.
And he just keeps getting worse.
It's not just that there's something wrong here, there's something wronger here.
Listen to this.
You Republicans and Trump supporters, especially those of you who are yourselves of color, must atone.
Oh, really, Keith? And what do minority Trump voters have to atone for? And why?
You must atone not merely because the man you support is a pig, and you must now do what is right, but you must also do so in self-defense because you are next. Because the maw of racial hatred has proved time and time again in nation after nation to be insatiable. And you conservative black pastors and you right-wing Hispanic leaders who still support Trump and these racists today, you will find yourselves the victims of Trump and these racists tomorrow. The mothers kept from the funerals will be yours. The lawns on which the torches will burn will be yours.
I just couldn't come up with a clever response to that one because this isn't funny anymore.
The mothers kept from the funerals will be yours. The lawns on which the torches will burn will be yours.
So if you're black or Hispanic and you voted for Trump, there will be fire and horror in your life that you deserve. He's made that leap. Keith isn't just irrational and paranoid anymore. He is truly malicious. I don't know if he's just playing a role or if he really believes all this, but either way, he is encouraging people to take a fanatical approach to politics. And the irony is that he thinks it's his opposition that's hateful.
The sides are being chosen now.
You watch your ass.